especially in our culture, where the gender roles are very, strongly defined, where nurturing and caregiving is still primarily the role of the woman. There has been a shift in the last few years. There are more and more men coming forward to partner the role of caregiving and nurturing. But by and large, it is the woman who is doing that role, be it the person, the superwoman who's balancing work and child and home and everything, or be it somebody, who has given up a career and is looking after the child. So there, you find all these, things happening. Very rarely you find, say, a dad who's given up a whole career to take up the caregiving and nurturing role, or equally partnering and shouldering the responsibility where both are, pursuing a career, both are at home. There are other things that drive us in our country also, the economics. For example, I don't think, the common Indian person can afford not, for both parents not to work. Somebody has to work to bring in the, the bread and butter. So, given all that, how do you negotiate? It is how you negotiate anything. Like, if you're going to go there and say you are not helping me at all, if you get into that kind of, that's the tone. At least I'm talking again from my own experience. I started out with that why are you not helping me? Why are you not a part of this? I was questioning my husband. But then I learned that that is only pushing him away a lot more. So I got into the mode of saying, hey, this is where I need help. So if we can take that kind of a tonality, saying that, even I am not very sure if I also need help. And from that point of view, when I started, interacting with my family and husband, I won't say that, they immediately took to it, but they at least got the point that I am overwhelmed and I need help. And over time, they started offering what they could. And, it took some time for them to get there. But yeah, they did. I mean, and I wouldn't just, whether it's your own parents or your in-laws, the grandparents, they also go through a grieving process. So they also take time. So initially, it's very rare that everybody steps up to it. Rather than approach it from a victim sort of point of view, where you say, I'm helpless, what do I do, and cry all the time, or like I did, to get into a fighting kind of thing, to say, why are you not helping me? Uh, just ask for what you need. For many a time, when you ask, there's always a 50% chance that the other person is going to say yes or no. So take that chance. The other added factor when you have a child with disability is that often, as the mother is the primary caregiver, like in my case, I was the primary caregiver. So what I did was I started doing a lot of research, learning a lot about autism, and I started literally all the time working with my child. And I had built this whole cocoon where in my house, I am the expert on autism. I am the expert on my son. So it was very easy also for the others to say, oh, you handle him best, we don't know. He won't listen to us. These kind of excuses were very, very common among when Nishant was younger. So that's when I realized that, again, rather than blame and fight, and, I tried all those things didn't work. I had to become a coach, at some point. I had to be the coach for my husband. I had to be a coach for my daughter, who's a young person who has to deal with older brother with autism. I had to be the coach for my parents or in-laws, to bring in the practices that will help them then interact with him, because otherwise it was very difficult for them using whatever techniques they have to interact with him. It's still a challenge. For example, with a child with autism, they're not very socially what do you talk to a person with autism? This is a question that my daughter sometimes asks. And I've always told her that maybe he's not going to talk to you like all other friends do, but then there are a lot of activities. They have a common interest of music, they have a common interest of cooking. So to build those kind of pockets where they can interact, doing things together, so that is how they bond. So to uh, be able to enable those things, whatever you gain initially, the first few years you may be gaining a lot of knowledge about the disability, whatever it might be, and your child, to make it available then for, just like you make it available for the his therapist or his teacher. Like when you put the child in a new school, you might say, these are the things that my child is interested, these are the difficulties, this is how you can deal with him or her, and these are his strengths and weaknesses, to keep reiterating that also to your partner and the other members of the family, be it the grandparents, you know really helps to leverage those relationships where there is a willingness, is very important. And even as far as my husband goes, he had a lot of I would say that, look, can you not make him do this one puzzle, or it's very simple, why can't you just, but he had a diffidence about doing it. So in his case, we worked out other things, we worked out other activities. Both of them love to walk and trek, so he would take him out for a walk, taking him out for a trek. So not to question, take him out for a drive. Many a time moms say that all the dad will do is take him out for a drive. So I don't want him to do that. He'll get used to it. But it's okay. It's okay for them to chill in that kind of way. Is what I feel, that at least you get your half an hour or 45 minutes where you can do something else, not to be so sort of micromanage how that time is being spent, and whether the parenting, you may have different parenting styles. Somebody may have a more controlling approach, the other spouse may be more permissive. To it actually enriches a child to have parents who are different, where I do feel for certain behavior management and certain things, you need to have the rules set and be consistent with how you interact with the child. But otherwise, it's okay if there are different rules with different parents, and to be aware of all that. I think conscious parenting is required in general, and especially if you have a child with special needs. The responsible conscious parenting is certainly one of the things, and I do agree that it's not very easy. It's not very easy because of all the, as I said, the cultural inflects into it, where you know if your child has a diagnosis, they could be the mother getting blamed for it or shame for it, and they carry all those burdens, or also being for something that sometimes I uh, felt is you're not contributing enough to the household, or because you're so focused on your child, that kind of thing, or to the marriage itself. I I am guilty of not being so lost in my son that I totally neglected sort of keeping the relationship alive for some time.